There are many things in life that will catch your eye, but only a few catch your heart. Pursue these. Thanks for joining us in this program, Vivid View, with Ehiliz. Many thanks to God. Still remain Ehiliz as your host. Vivid View.
Say and do it.
Interestingly, our discussion today is early and late marriage, the pros and cons. We shall get the gist after this short break. And of course, the guests will be introduced. Please stay tuned. Vivid View.
Say and
Do it. Welcome back. Early and late marriage is the topic for discussion today. And with me in the studio is a medical personnel. Let's make welcome Dr. Ogunko Moromoke.
Vivid View.
Say and do it. Follow us on our social media handles are displayed on the screen. Thank you so much for coming, Doctor.
Thank you for
Now,
having
without
me.
wasting more time, let's just go straight to the business of the day. What are your perspectives on this subject matter? Early and late, marriage, the pros and cons.
Thank you very much. I am honored to be here.
You're welcome.
Sometimes I feel like probably I'm not even worthy to take this topic, but I'll give my perspective.
Yeah.
First of all, what is marriage? Before we now go to say which one is early
and which one is
late. So marriage
right.
is a union between two people deciding to live together. It's like a contract. You say you want to live together, and no other reason. There should be no other reason why two people want to be together than love and the desire to be committed to each other forever. However, these days, people have several reasons for going into the marriage. So back to what we are discussing. What is early marriage? Now we're looking at early marriage, side-by-side child marriage.
Mm-hmm.
In Nigeria, the age of adulthood, we say, okay, is 18 years. That once you're 18 years, you can get married. But early marriage is a union between two people where either one or both of them are below the age of 18 years. It could be the female, it could be the male. Now, early marriage is very common among some ethnic groups. There are several perspectives about it, both religious beliefs, sociocultural beliefs, and the rest of it. But I really want to hammer on early marriage, and the reason is because early marriage in our society today is common among the northerners, where you find a child, so to say, a child of 10, 12, 13, having to get married to a 65-year-old man because you want to preserve the honor of the family, or you want to keep a bond, or even immediately a child is born, a female child is born, that child is already betrothed to someone who is already an adult. And now early marriages, the immature mind, the female that is not mature, she doesn't even know herself. She has not even discovered herself. And then you say, oh, she gets herself, into the marriage. She's not ready for the demands of marriage. She's not ready for what it takes to be married. There are so many effects that comes out of it. Some of them, okay, well, before I even go to the effects, why do we even have early marriage? Why do people send their children to marry early? Poverty is the main reason. First of all, poverty can cause it because they feel, oh, if this rich man wants my daughter's hand in marriage, why not? Let her go so that we'll have enough money. But my own perspective about early marriage is there are two ways about it. Because if you say early marriage, we're looking at that age, that 18 years range. Any female or any child, anybody that is below the age of 18. But then we also have people that marry in their early 20s. Some people will say it is early marriage. Someone that marries around 22 or 23, they still say it's early marriage.
Okay, thank you so much. You know, your discussion before, you only mentioned when marriage, early marriage is when it happens to a boy or girl that are below 18 years. But sometimes early marriage too is to where one person is also below the age, like you mentioned. A little girl marrying a man of about 65 years. So that young girl is early. You understand? So it's vice versa. Now that takes me to the second question. What then are the causes of early marriage? And delayed marriage or late marriage? Delayed or late marriage as well.
Okay.
So we're treating the two together.
Together. Okay. First of all, late marriage is when an individual that is perceived or that is physically mature, has reached a certain age, physically mature, spiritually mature, financially ready, and psychologically ready to get married, and the person is not married. It may be due to maybe lack of spouse or some other reasons why they are not married. So I will now take the causes of early marriage and the causes of late marriage pari passu. Now, for early marriage, I said poverty. And that is common in a setting where a family wants to keep their dignity. They want the girl child or the female is seen as, oh, this is our pride. When she gets married to this rich man, our family would, you know, get out of poverty.
Family are made.
Family.
Or it's made, whichever.
Then the second cause of early marriage can be lack of sexual education. Because when there is lack of sexual education, it can lead to unwanted pregnancies. And then by the time the girl is pregnant, the parents goes like, no, you're not going to have an abortion because we don't want you to die or something. And if the person that impregnated her is of age, what are we waiting for? To go and get married. That is, you have to go and get married. Disobedience can also be a reason for early marriage. Yeah. Because some young people, they believe that, oh, I love this person, I know what I'm doing, I'm ready to do it. So they just frank disobedience and then they just go all their way without the parents' consent, and then they go on to get married anyway. So those are some of the causes of early marriage. But for late marriages, I would say one of the main reasons for late marriage is socio-economic. In our society where the economy is not, you know, is not so friendly. So a man wants to, God has created the man to dominate. He has created the man to be the provider, created the man to be in charge. So it is common, the late marriage is common in the male gender than the females. Though we have quite a number of ladies that are also getting married late, and it may be due to, like I said, she doesn't have a job, I don't have a job, or she's not beautiful enough for me, or no, the person I want to marry has to have a good job, has to have a car, has to have, you know, a 3-bedroom flat furnished and everything. You know, everything has to be ready. So because of that, I'm not ready to marry.
I don't want to go and suffer.
I don't want to suffer. Then some female will say, please, I beg, let me enjoy my life, because once I get into marriage now, it is bondage. Let me just flex and flex and flex. Then when I'm ready, I will come and settle down. So that could also be one of the reasons for late marriage. Another reason for late marriage that we really need to look at is parental influence. Okay. You know, sometimes some people come home and say, oh, mommy, daddy, this is the person I want to get married to. And they said, where is he from? He's from Auchi. Auchi people. No. You cannot marry that kind of a person. And then she brings in another person, or he or she brings another lady or another man. I say, okay, what do you do? I'm an artist. In this time and age? No, you cannot take care of my daughter. No. So, you know, parental influence also causes late marriage. Because, fine, every parent wants their children to do well. Every parent wants their children to get married and then not having to still be fending for them after they get married. But it does not now mean that we have to take the whole decision like, no, unless I am satisfied with the person you are bringing home, you are not going to get married. So that is one of the reasons why we also have late marriages.
Thank you so much. I think I also add to what you said before we take a break now. Unemployment also, because of course, mentioned social aspects, also contribute to late marriage, especially to the men. When a young man wants to have few things before he starts talking of bringing up a family, the job is not there. He had graduated for 5 years, no job. Why do you expect him to go and get married? He will feel that on his own as a man, that he will not be able to fulfill these 3 P's. They told me men always fulfill 3 P's. 1, to profess, to provide, and to protect their wives. So he will not be able to do that. So he will be waiting till he gets a job. And before you know it's 40 years, 42. May God forbid that. We'll take a break now. Vivid View. Do it. Welcome back. We are still discussing early and late marriage, the pros and the cons. Let's take me to the next question, to Doctor. Is there any perfect age to get married?
There is absolutely no perfect age to get married.
But we can suggest between this or this, maybe humanly.
Yes, we can suggest. From my own point of view,
Yeah.
for early marriage, when I would say by the age of 21, you've gone to school, you've discovered yourself, you've gone through childhood, puberty, adolescence, you've discovered yourself, you know what you want, you know why you want to do it. And the reason why you're going into the marriage, like I said before, it's very, very vital. Because marriage is not just because, oh, I love him, and that. And love is not everything. It doesn't end with love. Because when you enter the marriage, in fact, 40 years into the marriage, you still don't have a clue. You are still learning every day, because marriage is the only school that you take your certificate before you even start. So you are learning on the job. Yeah. So for early marriage, I would say for my own, I would say from 22, 23 for early marriage. Once you are okay, you're done with your schooling, because a woman has to be empowered. A woman has to be empowered. No matter how rich your parents or family or whatever, a woman has to have that power, the economic power. Because when you're going into that union, when you're going into that contract, you have something you're bringing to the table. Whether the second person, the male that is marrying the spouse for the early marriage, if the person also has something to bring to the table, you guys are not going to be struggling. Exactly. And then you begin to discover each other as you're growing up. It is fun. To marry early, you have your children early and everything. Now, for late marriage, I cannot say this is the perfect time to marry late, but I will advise, especially on medical basis, for late marriage. It's advisable that for a lady to be married at least before the age of 35. And this is the reason. In the medical balance, when we look at a woman, by the time you're 18 and you're getting to 20, your 20s, mid-20s, and your early 30s, those are your active reproductive time. Those are your active reproductive time. So if you're not married around that time, by the time you are getting to 37, 38, 40, you start struggling for, to get pregnant and other things. In fact, right now, you would see a lot of people above the age of 35 having fibroids. Why? Because they are not getting pregnant. They are menstruating for so long. God has so made the body in such a way that period of time that you're supposed, that your fertility period, reproductive period, you have to grab that time and be in that, be married around that time, and then you have your children, and then you're fine. And then, of course, the good thing about it is when you marry early, you become a grandmother early in life. And then by the time you are like,
like Ehiliz.
Yes. So by the time you are like 50 years old or something, by your age of retirement, all your children are out of school, they are married, they are flexing, they are bringing money, they are, you are not still struggling to send them to school at the age of 55 or 60.
Or doing school wrong.
Or you are still running school at the age of 42. You understand? So that is what I feel about that.
Okay, thank you so much. We both of us have almost the same view. For me, I said the rightful time for a young girl to get married, girls now, I separated it, should be that from 23 to 30 years for a lady. It's the rightful time you get married. There are some that marry below these 23 years. They have stories to tell. There's a popular musician, I wouldn't want to mention her name. She said later on that if she had gotten the sense she had now, she wouldn't have divorced the husband. But she married very, very early, and she didn't have sense of how to manage certain things, and she left the home. She confessed in the paper, I read it. I don't want to mention her name, that if she had the sense she had now, she wouldn't have left the marriage. She married before 23. So the average for me is to be 23 and 20 and 30 for a lady. So no matter how you want to enjoy yourself, remember, doctor just mentioned after 35 years becomes a problem for reproduction. And then I said for men, the also average age is for 26 to 35 for a young man to get married. If you marry after 35 years, you continue to do school run even when you are 60 years and all that. So no matter how the economy is tight, still have this at your brain, still be focused. You cannot have everything in life before you married. I married my husband out of nothing. I think only what my husband had is education. I have a small job doing. But the point I'm making is, those of you that also want to marry Akate, if he doesn't have a car, if he doesn't have a house, I will not marry. Think level had changed. So grab what you want, and two of you can make a home. I made that promise that I don't want to marry a man has it all. I want to marry a young man that I'll build up family with. And that's exactly what happened to me. A few days ago, I just celebrated 33 years of marriage.
Wow.
A few years ago.
Wow.
And I speak now, I have 3 grandchildren.
Wow.
So that's the way you're saying, I say like a Ehiliz, you know. And if I come out here with some young girls, you see, so let me not just go there. You understand? So this is the rightful age. Between 23 to 30 for ladies and 26 to 35 for men. Try and work within there. And therefore, I'm speaking, if you know you already passed these stages, start thinking of what to do. Maybe you will not get everything. But sometimes when you marry, the wife God gave you, 2 of you build house. Before you think, oh, well, no money, money will start coming because both of you have already joined your force together to build a home. It takes 2 to tango. So please, do not delay for that because it's very, very dangerous. Last question before we take a break. Early or late marriage is prevalent among which gender? Is it among men or male or female gender?
Well,
or vice versa? Both of them.
Early marriage is prevalent among the female gender.
Okay. And then late one?
Late is prevalent among the male gender. Of course, we know the reason. We have said it over and over again. It's a socio-economic reason.
Yeah, so it's just vice versa. So let's try and make sure we're able to balance.